Welcome back into another episode of Rock Boys Football. We are rolling off a very, very strong week 5, probably easily our best week of the season, going 4-1, getting burned a little bit by that Oregon money line pick, which I don't think we played on the pod, but we had it. Tough loss, makes you want to puke. Other than that, if you were following us last week, you made some money. A good week off the heels of not so good of a week. So I guess it all balances out. But we like a lot of picks week 6. We're just going to jump right into it. Dill, what's your favorite pick of the week?
I had to bet my life on one pick. I think it's Oklahoma covering 3.5 on Texas, frankly.
Yeah, on my card too.
I think Oklahoma has looked bad for the most part this year, but this is like the perfect game for them to actually like play to what they are capable of playing. And frankly, Texas doesn't tackle anybody. So I do think Oklahoma is just going to put points up because everybody puts points up on Texas. Like worst tackling football team I've probably ever seen. And Oklahoma's got good talent across the board. So I think this is a pretty good game for Oklahoma to like kind of get loose a little bit and shell Texas.
Yeah, I mean this Oklahoma team is they were one of our favorite teams coming into the season. I haven't quite quit on them yet. Like they haven't lost a game. They don't look good, but that team is still very, very talented. And I think the biggest thing and why I like this pick -3.5, I think you could buy it to -3 if you don't want that hook. I don't think it'll come into play because I think there'll be so many scores. I think Oklahoma wins this by 2 scores. But it's a great matchup for Oklahoma. Texas, we all know Texas can't stop a nosebleed. They can't tackle. They will not be able to tackle these wide receivers in space. Marvin Winns, Mario Williams. But I think the biggest thing is Texas's offense is predicated through Bijan Robinson, and he's a stud. We all know that. But if there's one thing Oklahoma's defense has been doing, it's stopping the run. Last week they went on the road to Kansas State. And Deuce Vaughn only averaged, I think, 3.5 yards per carry. He's one of the best running backs in the country. They played Nebraska. They stopped the run there. Casey Thompson has not proven to really be able to throw from the pocket. And they've heavily relied on Bijan Robinson. I think he had some crazy 36 touches last game against TCU. So he also just might be banged up a little bit. It's a lot of touches for a 19-year-old kid. But I love this pick. Oklahoma's dominated the rivalry pretty much for the last, my memory, 10 years. And 3.5 is nothing to cover in the Big 12. So I love the pick.
Yeah, and I think like Texas maybe I think they haven't had to play that much besides Arkansas, who beat them up pretty good, frankly. So
isn't that good?
It's like if you give me Oklahoma, Arkansas even, I'm taking Oklahoma, I think. And I get that Oklahoma hasn't looked good, but they haven't lost, and I think, like, yeah, you do get the shot that, like, okay, they wake up and just hammer Texas. I do actually love that pick. I was surprised it was that close.
On a neutral site, as always. And yeah, you're right. Oklahoma's going to be ready to rock and roll Red River rivalry. All right, we both agree on that. I think that's a lot.
I'm also not even convinced Oklahoma's playing at home is good for them anymore because their fans just boo Spencer Rattler, legitimately rattle his cage.
Yeah.
They
both like it. That's my number one pick of the week too. So, I'm gonna shoot us over to kind of, in my opinion, the most intriguing matchup of the week. Penn State goes on the road to Iowa. Iowa's one of the harder places to play in the country. The fans love their football. They're loud. That being said, I think Iowa's possibly the most overrated top 5 team we've ever seen. Iowa just doesn't really scare. They play very good defense. They play simple, cover 2, very, very basic brand of defense, but they do it at a really high level. It gave Maryland trouble. And it's given most teams they played trouble. They force a lot of turnovers. They force a lot of interceptions. I don't see if Penn State, if Sean Clifford cannot turn the ball over, I think Penn State will be able to come out on top of this game. Iowa will not score over 10 points on Penn State's defense. They won't be able to.
I kind of think
that was the running. Those corners are really sticky, and Iowa doesn't really have much separators. at that wide receiver spot.
No, Penn State's defense is incredible. I think
That's
like
it's
really
besides
good.
Georgia, it's got to be top 10, top 5 in the country.
So I think them getting a point and a half, them 1.5 dogs. I think I like that money line.
I'm taking the money line. Let's ride it.
Yeah, there's no point of giving a point. It's like then you're just getting fluke action. So just take the money line. Yeah, I think Penn State can do enough on offense. I think they have the playmakers, especially Jahan Dotson, who people criminally underrate. I mean, he's got arguably the best hands in the college game, I think. I mean, he catches everything. He is very adept at getting space deep. I think he showed that against Iowa or Wisconsin, sorry. And if they can hit a big play or two combined with just their general offense, which has actually been way better. I think Sean Clifford looks way better this year. I think that's a pretty good pick. I think you're pretty safe for a Penn State win. It's just because I kind of agree. Iowa's going to struggle to get time.
It's going to be I think Penn State wins this game by just not trying to do too much. Yes, maybe take a shot to Jahan Dotson every once in a while, but don't ask Sean Clifford to do too much because he will make mistakes against the Iowa team. And that's one of those teams you can't make mistakes because they will capitalize on those mistakes. We saw that.
Yeah, that's all they want to do. Just try to force mistakes.
Yeah, get it to Dotson, kind of behind the line of scrimmage, get him in space, and let your athletes be better than the Iowa athletes, and then just play good defense. It might look a little bit like that Georgia Clemson game.
I kind of agree. I think they are gonna play really solid defense.
Their defense.
I love this pick. I think it's a super exciting game. You're definitely gonna want action on it. And
yep.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
All right. We both agree. All right, so we both agree. We both like 2 picks off the bat. I mean, Penn State money line. I like the pick. And I'm taking it, but my favorite pick is OU. I think everyone should be taking that. Send us a different direction.
This is one I think I'm stunned when I saw it. I actually like this almost as much as the other two. I probably like it more than Penn State. Is Kentucky to cover 3.5 on LSU. I mean, LSU is so bad. Kentucky's not going to give them. I think they're going to really struggle to get 14 points. Like, legitimately, that's going to be an impossible task for that LSU team. I mean, they shut down Florida. Nobody can shut down Florida, not even Bama. So I love that pick. I think Kentucky looked really good. I think Wan'Dale Robinson is
sick.
Incredible. So Chris Rodriguez, barring fumbles, he's a hammer. And as I've kind of said, I don't think LSU likes to tackle. They struggled mightily to tackle the 2 running backs against Auburn. So
and UCLA.
You're gonna ask them too. Yeah. So we're gonna ask them to tackle Rodriguez and then mix in Kavosiey Smoke, who's been pretty solid. Like that pick. I think that's mostly an indictment on LSU. I think LSU.
Chris Rodriguez is one of those guys that you don't want to tackle 25 times a game, and they're going to make you tackle him 25 times a game. Obviously, Derek Stingley's out. This LSU team just looks in turmoil. It's just going downhill. It's going downhill quickly for them. That being said, I'm not comfortable taking that pick just because of the talent discrepancy. Like Kentucky.
What talent discrepancy? We're treating LSU like it's 2019. They're right now and they stink.
But they're still
talented. They don't have talent.
And that's I don't hate the pick. I'm not saying it's not on my card because
talented. They're getting that. They're getting beat by everybody, and they're getting UCLA beat them badly. Like it wasn't really wildly competitive at any point. So I don't know, talent, they did recruit guys once upon a time.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like they've developed anything. And I think, again, as I've said, I think Orgeron caught lightning in a bottle in 2019.
Yeah, I'm out on him too.
He's not a guy who can run a good he just doesn't run a clean program. He stunk at Ole Miss. There's a reason he took forever to get a head job, and he is what he is. He's a decent interim coach, good D-line coach, horrible head coach. Doesn't know how to manage a program straight, in my opinion.
I agree. It seems like it's getting away from him rather quickly. And LSU has just so many flaws, and it's not to boost.
They do have Boutte. I'll give you that. Boutte is
awesome.
awesome.
And Max Johnson,
other than that,
coming into his own, he's not horrible. He threw for 325 yards. LSU wins this game if they finish drives in the red zone. They just played way too much in the red zone, didn't finish drives, settled for 2 field goals in the second quarter, settled for 2 field goals in the third quarter.
That's what you get when you can't run the ball and you don't have a particularly good quarterback.
Exactly. And that's we said this going into the season. LSU could not run the ball last year. They could not run the ball this year.
Also, Kentucky's got a good defense.
Yeah, they're good defense.
They'll tear you up
in general. They handle Florida really, really well. I was super impressed with how they played Florida.
Yeah.
And it's at Kentucky, dude, in Lexington.
Kentucky, how about them getting buzzing last game?
Right? They were buzzing. They were buzzing Saturday.
I didn't know Kentucky could get that rowdy I get good basketball fans, whatever, but they really brought it. That was a sick atmosphere. So
you're kind of talking me into the pick. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Kudos to them.
LSU hasn't shown they can do much. They get embarrassed by UCLA early. They squeak out a 3-point win against Mississippi State and can't finish Auburn off at home in Death Valley at night. So yeah, I don't hate the pick either. I don't know if it's on my card because I'm not in love with Kentucky. If you look at what Kentucky's done, they haven't really moved the ball that much. They only put up 16 on South Carolina. Will Levis, outside of that Missouri game, Will Levis hasn't been great. He threw for 102 yards against South Carolina.
You don't need to throw on LSU though. Bo Nix, I wouldn't say
87 yards against Florida. Like that.
Yeah, it's similar. They take the ball. They take the ball away, and they do enough on the ground.
That is primary. And it was like you brought in Will Levis, you brought in Wendell Robinson, you brought in that new offensive coordinator, all to kind of modernize might be the right word, or just get this offense going. I mean, all they really could do is run the ball for the last.
But frankly, Florida's night and day better defense than Auburn or LSU. I don't even think it's close.
And they did really well. They did. Were you talking about defense? Florida's defense.
Yeah,
they are.
I mean, LSU's bad both sides, but
even Will Levis against Missouri only threw for 179 yards. Chris Rodriguez ran the ball 27 times for 200. So it's they're still one-dimensional. They're still
they're gonna go to, but that's a dimension that's okay against LSU because UCLA is very one-dimensional, and UCLA ran it down their throat for the whole game.
Yeah.
LSU knew they were running every play. They lined it up, and they couldn't tackle Charbonnet.
Yeah.
Or the other guy for that matter.
I might not make my card, but I get it. I get the pick.
Later.
I think LSU is a horrible team. Okay, so I'm gonna kick us to, and I'm gonna get Reds for a homer pick, but Wake Forest covering 5.5 at the Carrier Dome in Syracuse.
Love it.
Wake Forest is a good team in Vegas. You will continually be able to make money on Wake Forest because Vegas never values them. I mean, Vegas always just treats them like they're the 2016 ACC team that's the doormat of the ACC, and they're not. They're a very good team with a very experienced offensive line, very experienced defense, and a quarterback who's starting to take care of the football and make some plays. And their running backs are good. They got 3 really solid running backs. I mean, they're ripping plays off left and right. Have 3 fresh running backs all the time is big. And this Syracuse team's not good. So
not good. All they did was beat Liberty one time.
A couple key Rock Boy pillars, I guess we call them, road value. Syracuse,
road value.
Syracuse, Wake Forest will be the faster team, and Syracuse you go to the Dome. Syracuse, I don't see any sort of home field advantage at the Carrier Dome.
The Dome's not a great atmosphere.
Syracuse just lost to Florida State and barely beat Liberty, who I don't think is that good. Lost to 10 by Rutgers. I'm not sold on the Syracuse team.
I don't think Syracuse is horrible. I think they're better than I thought they were going to be. I did think they were. I did like kind of how they looked against Liberty and Rutgers. They looked more athletic and they had better talent. But it's more a Wake Forest.
They're a good team.
That team looked good. Really good.
And they just ride. Syracuse just rides that back. Sean Tucker, you get 24 carries against Syracuse, 32 against Liberty. They just ride or die with him.
And Sam Hartman's been a weapon this year.
He's been good, yeah, and he's taking care of the football. He's been accurate, and he knows when to tuck it and make something out of nothing. So, and this Wake Forest team it's fine. It's just clicking, and I don't know. I like to pick 5.5. Syracuse not a very good football team. Wake Forest seemingly is a legit top 25 team.
We should get a touchdown at least. It seems to me.
Well, it started like that. It was -7 to start the week. So all the way down to -5.5. And I haven't taken it yet. So I was happy taking it at -6.5. It's -5.5, sure.
Yep, I agree. I like it.
All right, so we're in agreement with almost everything besides the Kentucky LSU pick.
And
it's not even like I hate that pick. It's just I like other picks and I have enough action on my board. So take us to another game.
I know you agree. We've talked about this a little bit, but Notre Dame's going to beat Virginia Tech. Shouldn't be dogs. I think Virginia Tech is like getting a bump from beating North Carolina, who I think is showing that they're not close to what they were last year. And realistically, Sam Howell was very much a product of his 2-star wide receivers and not a guy who's going to carry a football team on his back, which he has been asked to do this year and has certainly not done this year. So I'm not like I don't think that Jay Bowmeister or whatever his name, the quarterback for
Braxton
Virginia Tech. What's it?
Braxton.
Bowmeister?
I think it's Burmeister, but I could be wrong.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Whatever it is. But I don't think I watched that game against West Virginia. I thought he was exposed. He's not like I thought he was like a great athlete after the North Carolina game, and then against West Virginia, maybe just a better team.
Yeah, he didn't use his legs. So when we bet on it,
he just his legs. Crazy. And he's not a great thrower, and they don't have a ton of weapons, so it's like,
yeah,
he needs to be. And I think it's like you're taking a big bump up. Notre Dame's defense, as bad as their offense has kind of been, their defense is pretty good. It's athletic. And I think they're going to be a handful.
Oh, yeah. That's really good.
Yeah. And I think you give Drew Pine a crack. He actually was pretty good. Jack Cohn can play even better. Jack Cohn's fully healthy.
Do we know the Notre Dame quarterback situation? Because I do think that matters a little bit.
Oh, it definitely matters. But I think if they can have Drew Pine or Jack Cohn, I think they're in good shape. I think Drew Pine's pretty good. I don't think the other guys.
I should have. I didn't have Notre Dame on it because I worry about that offensive line being able to protect. You have that edge defender on Botech. I'm blanking on his name. He's a dog. Let me find it for you because he's really Amari Barno, number 11. He was really good against UC. He's a top 5 prospect in mine, I think, going into the 2022 NFL draft. Stud. And Notre Dame, I mean, we worried about their offensive line because all the turnover they had from last season. But I mean, now they're banged up too. Now it's like you have a lot of turnover. Now you have like a lot of injuries. I think they're on their 3rd string tackle. So it's
and they've proven they stink. Like I don't love Notre Dame's offensive line, but it's more. I think Notre Dame's defense is a very good match against Virginia Tech.
I agree. I think Notre Dame's defense should keep them in it against Virginia Tech, who really isn't that good of an offense. They might have looked really good against a horrible UNC defense. And I mean,
I wouldn't even say they're
So
it wasn't like it was just their defense played.
They only scored 21 on West Virginia, and they only scored 21 on Richmond. All right, I'm talking more into the pick.
I will say for the West Virginia game, I think they had 3 drives stall out inside the 10. They definitely had at least 2.
Yeah, they moved the ball.
So it's like they were moving a little bit.
A little bit. I mean, Burmeister only threw for 220. And they only
that's like all part of it. Like, I'm not a big Justin Fuente fan, so I don't think he does a good job with teams just generally. I think Brian Kelly beats the teams he should beat generally. That's why they go to the playoffs.
It is a night game in Blacksburg, though. So, that is one of the harder places.
That's why you're getting the point, for sure, probably.
I think that is. And I'm okay with it. I think Notre Dame's the better team. I think they have the better defense. I just they can't run the ball right now, which hurts. I don't know what their quarterback situation is. I think Brian Kelly talked about it a little bit. Let's talk.
But in fairness, they could run the ball a little bit on Florida State. The only teams they really couldn't run it on that well were Purdue, decent D line, not a great team, but
so
a
they don't
decent
know
D
who it
line
is. Sorry to interrupt you.
for
Brian
the quarterback.
going to announce it. So,
Well, of course, they're going to say they don't
and I
know.
don't
what
think it matters
is.
that much because they're all like, they're like Jack.
It's going to be one of the two. It's going to be Pine or Cone. It doesn't. I actually think Drew Pine's decent. I mean, he does add he's pretty athletic guy and he does like to run around. So he does add that. And
Yeah.
I mean, they did play that Bearcat team very tough.
And that's
the
a
Bearcats
decent,
are good.
Okay, I like it. The problem is I'm being very selective because I there's a certain amount of picks that I really like, and so
I know you like it.
Let's go to Michigan -3.5 against Nebraska. Everybody's
That's easy.
freaking out about Nebraska beating Northwestern. Northwestern is dog water. They stink. If Nebraska doesn't blow Northwestern out at home, you should be concerned. I will say Nebraska, I think, is a better team than I might give them credit for because that stench from that Illinois game is still lingering a little bit. Like they looked so bad. I don't think they'll be able to ever really to get that stench out. But after they did lose to Illinois, they went out, beat a Buffalo team. They hung with Oklahoma, and then they hung with Michigan State, who's the 11th best team in the country now. And then they blew out Northwestern 56-7. That being said, this is one of the better Michigan teams and the most confident Michigan team I've seen since 2016. Adrian Martinez can drop back and throw, but I think he needs that run game. I think our linebackers and D-line are athletic enough to kind of keep him bottled up for the most part. And if we can,
I think the problem is we're going to beat them so badly up front. And I don't think they're a great offensive line. And Martinez is not a guy who is the only thing he really was doing against most of the teams he's played is pulling big, long scrambles out of a hat kind of thing. I think that's been a lot of that offense. So without that, and I guess I'm putting a little stock in, I think Michigan's going to be by far the most athletic defense they've played.
For sure. I don't think Michigan State I don't think Michigan State's that good either. They beat a Miami team that turns out to stink.
Well, they're good, but also Michigan State just couldn't move the ball.
Okay, but are they that good? I mean, they beat a Northwestern team. Okay, Northwestern stinks. They beat a
Youngstown. No, I get that they're not great. Yeah.
And then that Miami game, Miami hung around until the fourth quarter when they got outscored 21-3. And Miami stinks. So is Michigan State the 11th best team? We're putting a lot of stock in Nebraska going to Michigan State and keeping the game, but if Michigan State isn't as good as we think, I don't know.
And I don't think it was because Nebraska could move the ball. From what I watched, it was mostly just a defensive battle.
Yeah.
And I do think I think Michigan's got a better offensive game. I think their offensive line is going to be a problem for Nebraska. I think it's been for most teams besides Wisconsin, but Nebraska's no Wisconsin on defense. They don't play that running defense good like that. So
Nebraska,
I like it. I
really
think
their running production outside of obviously that Northwestern game where they kind of just ran up and down on them. That Jaquezion kid looked good. They're not the best pure running team. A lot of that running production, those running stats come from Adrian Martinez kind of making something out of nothing with some scrambles. If Michigan and hopefully have an athletic front seven kind of keep him contained and kind of limit that, I think Adrian Martinez just can't throw from the pocket effectively enough. I'm sure he'll turn the ball over. Michigan's starting to get those turnovers going, kind of getting good at sitting in those zones and reading the quarterback. So again, this is just you buy it. You can just take it money line 2-3, buy it down to 3. I don't see Michigan losing. This team is confident. This team is playing together. It's a freight train right now, and I don't think.
And when Jim Harbaugh has it rolling, he houses teams
Yeah,
that are
yeah,
good.
exactly. Like you won't
Like
let
if you're not a team that should beat Michigan, generally when Harbaugh's rolling, like he kills them.
Yeah.
And then
We kind of did that.
he's historically been bad against good teams, obviously, but he does crush on the bad
I don't
ones,
think
so.
Nebraska's like that good of a team because even hanging around with Oklahoma, like okay.
No, I'd put them in the lower tier Big Ten.
Okay.
So
Um,
I actually do like that too.
Do you have any more? I will say like outside of that OU, that Wake Forest, the Penn State, and the Michigan. Those are like my favorite picks. I think everybody should be tailing those. I think it at least goes 3-1. I do have some picks that
I'm going to toss one more out there before you go because I don't love this pick, but I think it's kind of a fun late dog. I think Utah to beat USC. I actually don't hate. It is a later game, 8:00.
Why do you like Utah football? I need to know.
I don't love Utah football, but I despise USC football. It's a lot more of a. I've got to say, I watched that Oregon State Washington game. Not wildly impressed with either of those teams.
What is the line? What is the line on that? I don't even know the line.
USC's 3-point favorites
at home, right? Ugh, I don't. What? Where are you getting this pick from? I would almost take USC. I'd almost take the opposite.
USC. You can't take USC. They stink.
USC like kind of stinks, but Keaton Slavis kind of got back into that rhythm. Keontae Ingram's finally taken over the backfield like I said he would. And Drake London was a dog last weekend. I mean, granted, albeit against a horrible, horrible, horrible Colorado team.
I think they're both kind of bad, frankly. But that's kind of what makes me think, like, okay, Utah's got decent players. The whole Charlie Brewer situation is wildly unfortunate, obviously, for Utah. I don't really care about them, but the fact that that's happening is not great. I think that's why they're dogs.
Well, TJ Pledger's there in the backfield, correct? Like he's a dog. He ran for 10 carries, 117 yards, transfer from OU. He's good.
It's not like I don't love it. I don't think Utah's particularly good. I think they do have some players on defense, especially that middle linebacker who's really good.
He's dog. He's good.
But it's just I don't. This game smells like a USC loss to me. This is like just a hunch pick. Like I know very little. I haven't watched a ton of USC. They've been throwing jump balls to Drake London, and that's basically been their offense, which I find a little unsustainable.
But it's like not. He's that guy. Like he's really good.
Yeah, but he can't move, and he's just a big, tall tight end who jumps high. I guess I don't know. It's not good offense. It shouldn't be favorites.
They really should against the Utah team that's not good.
Their home field is going to be probably as bad as UCLA.
That's probably
California fans.
That is probably fair.
They're snoozers and they don't like watching. So
they don't like watching a bad team. I feel like you're not giving one of those teams that like Nebraska will show out every match. They can be 3-0. Nebraska will ride. USC
the Rams are too good.
Like they're not. I don't know.
The Rams are good. The Chargers are good. There's too much in LA. USC is taking a
USC did get shellacked by Oregon State at home, which is weird.
That's why I don't know. It's like I don't love USC. I think.
All right, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to tell the viewers why you want to pick. I have to go do something real quick. Keep talking about the pick.
This is a tough one. I think he is very much underappreciating how bad USC is. I think that's a thing he tends to do, which is take the, let's call them traditional power names and treat them like their current powers. I think he obviously did that with Nebraska and Illinois this year. He just doesn't see dogs. And I think that's a problem. I think when you get in the mindset of taking these teams that don't belong as favorites in any games, Nebraska type teams, you run into trouble. I think USC is very much in the line of Nebraska. So If I see USC as a favorite to a good team with talent, give me the good team with talent all day.
Okay, I'm taking USC.
Whatever. I don't care.
We'll have to battle. Well, that'll be a battle. A little bit of a.
Well, you generally lose these. Just so you know.
Everybody, write it down. Jot it down. Okay. Don't like the pick, but it is what it is. I'm gonna move to kind of like my. These are more games that I've watched a little bit of the teams, and I like. I like TCU -2. I believe they're at Texas Tech. Texas Tech is I haven't really been impressed with them. They got shellacked. I think they gave up 70 points to Texas. Texas. TCU is good. Like that Zach Evans running back's good. Matt Duggan can make plays.
He's a mistake maker. That's the problem. When you bump up against a Texas Tech, Matt Duggan is a guy who looked like he was very apt to take bad sacks, take risks with the ball.
He just try to do a little too much.
I kind of wish he would just take a little bit of a back seat, be a runner, and play a cleaner game. When you bump up on a Texas Tech team that you know is going to score and has been scoring, it concerns me to take a guy who I'm pretty sure will kill a drive or two with pure mistakes.
And that's actually what he did against Texas. I watched a little bit of the film on that.
Right, he'd take sacks and he'd put the ball in harm's way. Is basically what I saw of him. And then he makes those flash plays, but I wish he'd just chill down a little
not bit. Good. Like they couldn't stop California. They couldn't stop SMU. They really couldn't stop Texas. I mean, Texas just ran the ball on them, so they didn't put up a ton of points. But
I will say I didn't love this pick, but I'm not gonna like vigorously disagree with you. I'm just giving you my reason for when I look at it. Like I do think if you watch Texas versus TCU and Texas versus Texas Tech, it's TCU will be a problem on the ground, straight up for Texas.
Also, like people are talking about Bijan Robinson, Tank Bigsby, Zach Evans from TCU is also like one of the best.
Good.
He's really good.
Too bad TCU's becoming irrelevant because he gets no love for that.
Yeah, and a team like Texas Tech, who just hasn't played the best defense, gave up 70 to Texas. Pretty sure Bijan Robinson just went all over him. Yeah, 18 carries, 137 yards.
Yeah, and that was a couple goal or at least one goal line stop. That was bad run. But
against TCU.
Such is life.
Yeah, I wonder if that goal line was weird. Okay, but I do like that. I don't think Texas Tech's that good. They're 4-1, but I don't think it's that impressive at 4-1. I'm impressed by the West Virginia win, which I would like to go back and watch some more film on that. But other than that, Stephen F. Austin, they only beat by 4. FIU, they gave up 21 points to. And then squeaked out one in West Virginia, which was impressive. And I'll have to go back and watch the film on that. But right now, it kind of jumped out to me. It's like, okay, TCU -2, like that seems all right. Do you have any more picks, or should I just run down the rest of my card?
No, I gave the picks I was going to give.
I don't even know if I'll take some of these. These are just kind of some picks that jumped out at me. Georgia.
How many do you have?
Huh?
How many do you have?
I have.
You loved it?
I have 4. I have 4 that I love, and then like another 3 or 4 that I love. Yeah, I'm not firing on all of them, and that's why I was being very selective about the Kentucky one. It's like I think I like a lot of other picks.
Let's let them rip then.
Georgia Tech -3.5, which actually now that it must have just updated to -4.5. I like. What's the name of that head coach, Steve?
Oh, the guy with the sleeveless hoodie.
I was hoping you'd have that. I feel like you talked about him a decent amount. Geoff Collins.
Jeff. Yeah. Easy. Okay. Jesus. Come on.
I was calling him Geoff Collins all summer. I like what he's starting at Georgia Tech. I think this Georgia Tech football team is headed in the right direction. Looking at what they did, they had that super disappointing, weird loss to Northern Illinois that I think they were like 19-point favorites, so it's super weird. They come back and trounce in FCS school. They hang in there with Clemson, play some good defense, and then they beat UNC bad. They beat them by 20 points, 23 points to be exact. And then they lose to a Pitt team that, I mean, Pitt's good. The Pitt Panthers, Kenny Pickett is putting up some disgusting numbers.
Yeah.
And outside of it, kind of a weird loss to Western Michigan. And I don't even know if it's weird because Western Michigan's a legit team.
Western's good for sure.
Pitt's been playing haven't played the best teams. They played Tennessee. Kenny Pickett threw all over them. I think Pitt's a solid team, so I'm not reading too much into that. And Duke stinks. I mean, I really am low on Duke. Mm-hmm. I don't think they can really do much on offense. Their offense is pretty much like, okay, we're just going to give the ball to Mateo Durant, and hopefully he can make something happen.
Yeah, I agree with. The only issue I have is Jeff Collins is a bit more of a rah-rah underdog guy, and I think they're like a la him dropping to NIU in like those type of games. I think Collins thrives in the we're going to keep it tight on good teams kind of thing. I think that seems to be his like
I disagree with that just because I think that's how he had to build this. But that's how you have to build a program. Like that's
definitely
how you take a Georgia Tech team. They're like, hey, we're underdogs. We like it's us against the world type mentality. And that's what you need when you're taking a team that's just bottom tier.
You can't underdog against Duke because they're
yeah, but like Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech is just a good team, and I want to talk a little bit about the players they have. I'm a Jeff Sims guy for sure.
Sims is good.
I'm a big believer in Jeff Sims, but I love those running backs that they have. Jahmyr Gibbs and Jordan Mason. Jahmyr Gibbs is one of those guys that you just want the ball in space. If you get him in space, he's one of the more exciting players in the country. I like Jeff Sims. I think he's a playmaker. He threw for 359 against a Pitt defense that's horrible, but also runs for a lot. Jahmyr Gibbs had a weird stat line against Pitt. He won 10 carries for minus 10 yards, which is weird. But he also had 6 catches for 125. And so I like this team. Quez Jackson at linebacker, I like. He had 10 tackles last week. So that's kind of my pick. And it's less about Georgia Tech, who I like coming into this. I liked in summer scouting, but it's more just Duke stinks. Duke's so bad.
That's fair. Duke is really bad.
And then I think my last pick, I'll end it on this one. Georgia minus 15.5. I actually, outside of the money line pick week 1 against Clemson, I haven't taken Georgia at all, and I think they've covered every single game.
I actually like that too. Like Georgia's killing people.
2 scores, like they'll win by 3 scores. They run the ball really well.
Yeah,
they can throw. I don't know if JT Daniels will be healthy. They gave him the whole week off against Arkansas, which they were playing with fire a little bit. Because I think if it was like Alabama in the SEC championship game, we see JT play.
I do too, but I think they knew what Arkansas was.
Arkansas, which they did.
Yeah, they were right.
But this defense, like Auburn is. Bo Nix got away with a lot of stupid stuff against LSU that's not going to fly against Georgia. I think Georgia's going to force Bo Nix to turn the ball over. They won't be able to run it at all.
Because all Auburn did was throw dump offs to running backs and have Bo Nix run around like Johnny Manziel at his peak. So it's like
that won't work against Georgia.
You don't want it. That shouldn't be your game plan against the Dogs. So
and Auburn,
I actually agree with you.
Okay, although I will say shout out, I want to say this. Auburn fans, Jacoby McClain, that linebacker,
good.
He's sick. He was so good. That was one of the best linebacking performances I've seen in a very long time. He was all over. Every tackle that was made, I feel like was him. How many tackles? Like I want to look that up. I don't know how many tackles.
It's not gonna be enough though.
It's not. No, not even close. I'm not saying that. I was just saying like I do love.
That was kind of a lucky win. It was.
No, it wasn't.
I mean, Bo Nix was just that. I don't think he can play that good ever again if he tried. So he was just pulling rabbits out of a hat, making. I mean, some of those plays. That one play on what was it, 4th down?
Yeah,
like maybe disgusting. On their 30 or something. That was incredible.
He was their leading rusher too. I do like that Jarquez Hunter cat.
Well, they didn't run the ball well, but they did throw to the.
They didn't really try either. Tank Bigsby only had 9 carries, and Jarquez Hunter had 6. That was all.
And they were just throwing to him.
So Kobe McClain only had 4 tackles, 8 assists, but I feel like he had way more.
8 assists.
But Auburn also gets after you. in that offensive line. But again, I like this pick.
I didn't think they were able to get after LSU as much as I thought. Honestly, I thought it was going to look different.
That's weird. Cause I actually thought because they really only rushed 3 and got pretty good pressure a lot of the times.
It seemed to me like Johnson had the ability to play okay.
Well, Max Johnson holds the ball forever too, so maybe
he is a ball holder.
Came from.
He doesn't have great presence and poise.
No, he really doesn't. But yeah, and I think you like this pick because Georgia will score 28. I think that's a fair. Fair number. I don't think Auburn scores more than 10. I'd be surprised.
If Auburn scores more than 10, Georgia's going to score some points then.
That's true. And if they don't,
Georgia can score on people if they want. It's just
what they do too. It's like they score.
It's just they're beating people so badly on defense that they're just running ball. So
Georgia's so good. I can't wait for that Alabama game. It's so good.
Yeah, I'm preemptively excited for that.
But yeah,
why don't you rip your last ones off? You don't have to give us much explanation, but
no, that's all I have. That's all I have. I'm done. That's all. That's the I'm done with the picks. You guys don't have to hear me. I'll tweet out a bunch of my picks, but this was a long episode. I do like a lot of picks. Didn't mean to get too in deep with the analysis, but these picks are sick. We're gonna make some.
I think it's a fun week, honestly.
We'll be at the Michigan game, by the way, so hammer Michigan. All right, though. Appreciate you guys listening. As usual, comment in the comment section what your locks are. We look forward to hearing them. Add them to our card. We'll talk to y'all next week. Peace.